Hi, my name is James Hunter. I'm a personal trainer, and in this video I'm making, I basically want to help people with increasing an awareness of promoting a better posture within performing exercises, and also about technique and form. So posture is very important. It's something that is often neglected, or people don't have an awareness of it. They're going through the motions, but they're really not getting as much as they can out of the exercise because of poor posture and not having the body positioned correctly when performing an exercise. So I hope these videos help. The first exercise that I'd like to use as an example as it relates to maintaining a good posture, using proper form and technique while performing an exercise is the dumbbell row. And there's several things I want to point out that I've observed over the years with this particular exercise. And what I have often seen over the years in the past is that people basically, when performing this exercise, they totally neglect to pay attention to their posture, trying to engage the core, and so on. And what that leads to is them not being able to get as much out of this exercise as they could if they were to use proper form, technique, and have good posture. And what I mean by posture is when I see people with doing the dumbbell row, as soon as they start to do this lift, they already have their back hunched, like a hunchback. That back is rounded at the top, and when they go down to grab the dumbbell, they basically are just trying to heave it up there, and do the movement. The problem with that is several things. One, it's bad for your back, your spine, and two, it puts you at a disadvantage where you really can't effectively perform this exercise. What you want to do when you're doing any exercise is you need to focus on the primary mover, which is the muscle that we're training. And this particular exercise, it's the lat. So in order to get the most out of this, I need to have good posture. So what I like to do is I think of it this way, is I bring my chest out and I envision a flat back, keeping my stomach tight. Now when I'm in this position, I want to also bring my left leg out if I'm doing on my left side. And for me, I have a slight bend in the knee. Our body types can vary, so you want to basically get in a position where you're going to be stable on your bench. And in order to increase your stability, you want to have good posture, keeping your stomach tight, and now you're in a position to have room to do the work effectively. So what I want to do when performing this exercise, bring my chest out, have a flat back, and now I'm in a position to be better supported and work that lat. And pull one, get a few reps here, and two, and three, and four, and five. Now, when I did those reps, what I felt was all of my lat working. The primary mover was my lat. I was able to get in position to do the exercise properly because I had a flat back, keeping my stomach tight. I was stable. I was in a good position, using good posture. If you have a hunchback, you're hunched over, and you're just trying to heave it up there like that, you're not really in a position to be effective. You can hurt your back over time, and it's just not good for you. And if you're going to do this exercise and you want to be effective, then it would behoove you to use good form, good technique, to where you can really focus on that muscle and hone in on it and get in there and get the work done. To reiterate the purpose of the exercise in regards to focusing on the primary movers of the exercise, in this case it's the lat muscle. That's the muscle we want to emphasize, and having that good posture that I was demonstrating is going to allow you to be mechanically a lot more effective. And also, one tip I give is I like to visualize things in my mind that helps me to perform an exercise. And because I want to emphasize more of my lat, I kind of think of my arm kind of like it's a cable or rope, and my hands is like a hook. And yes, the arm it's involved in the movement, but it should not be it shouldn't be doing the work. Your lat should be doing as much as possible. It is pulling, and the arm's involved on the way up. But you don't want to turn this into where you just make it an arm exercise, and now you're minimizing the lat. What can happen when you're doing a dumbbell row? As you start to fatigue doing reps, your lat will get tired, and in that instance, your arm may start to take over. In that case, it's usually because you've done enough reps by that point, or you just might need to adjust your weight. So this is the dumbbell row. It's a great exercise. I like to incorporate it. Just be safe when you're doing it. Don't be a hunchback, because nobody likes hunchbacks, right? And you don't want to tear up your back. So practice good posture. You can get a lot of benefits from weight training, but be safe and be effective. And another tip as it relates to using proper form and posture while performing exercises is the tricep press down or extension. And I want to emphasize in this exercise, as I did the last one, the importance of maintaining good posture engaging your core by keeping your stomach tight in order to be able to perform the exercise effectively and focus on the primary mover, which is the purpose of the exercise. In this case, this one would be the tricep. I want to first give an example of how not to do it. So when I show this, by any means, do not take this as how you're supposed to perform this exercise. But this, unfortunately, is what I do see in gyms over the past years of training. I've been weight training for 31 years now. Time flies by. But what I see a lot, even with people who are supposed to be seasoned weightlifters or experienced, sometimes you can see them using bad form too. So it's not just beginners, it can be a lot of people. So what I see a lot of times in gyms is when someone's going to do a tricep press down, is that, again, with the back and the hunching, around the shoulders or up here, and they'll just throw the weight down, their elbows are flared out, and sometimes I've even seen people over it and just going like this, pressing it down, and there's several problems going on when they perform this exercise that way. First of all, the primary mover is supposed to be the tricep. When you're up here over it, hunched back, you're just trying to throw it down, you're putting emphasis on shoulders and lats. This is not supposed to be a lat pullover, and we're not trying to work shoulders. We're trying to do triceps, but if you're not in proper form and have good posture, you're not in a position to really do the exercise effectively. And also, it can just be bad for your back. It creates tension on the lower part of your neck, and it's not a good, safe practice. And I see a lot of people doing this. So what you want to do in order to try to get the most out of this exercise and doing the tricep press down is, again, I like to bring my chest out and envision my back flat. I'm going to pull my arms in tight, and now I'm over the weight. Some people like to put one foot back, and that's a preference if you want to do that or not. I kind of like to have one foot back. I'm keeping my abs tight, my stomach's tight, so now I'm nice and stable. I'm engaging my core isometrically while I'm doing this, and now I can focus on the muscle I'm working, the tricep. I'm going to perform the exercise in a full range of motion. Eccentrically, I'm coming all the way up the tricep, expanded, and then I'm going to all the way down, full contraction. So 1 and 2, just like that. Now, you may notice that when I'm doing this exercise, I am somewhat leaning a little bit, and that's okay as long as I maintain a flat back, because I am not hunching my back. I'm not putting my back in a compromised position. Now, you can be standing straight up and do this exercise, but I like to step back a bit, get my stomach tight. So now while I'm training triceps, I'm also tightening my abs at the same time, engaging my core. I'm accomplishing a lot more now from an energy standpoint and getting a lot out of this exercise. So full range of motion all the way up, all the way down. My back is flat, chest is out. In no way am I in a position to hurt my back now. And I felt every bit of that in my tricep. Did not feel any shoulders, did not feel my lats working. And that's what you want to do. Now, there are things called partial reps, and there's a place for those depending on the type of training people are doing. There's nothing wrong with that. When I teach people, beginners, I like to teach the exercises in the full range of motion because that's how our muscles work. And just real quick, I'd like to give another example from a different angle. And again, when doing this exercise, flat back, arms in tight, don't let the elbows flare out. What you can do is you can get a gym towel, put it between your arm and your torso while doing this exercise to help as a cue to train yourself to not let the towel drop. If you keep your arm close to the body, that towel will stay in. If it falls down, then your arms came out. You don't necessarily have to do that, but it's just an idea to get people to kind of think about keeping those arms in. You don't want to be out here. You want to be in here, over it, and let the triceps work, okay? So, again, the distance, how far you want to be or stand back, it's a preference. I'm not telling anyone necessarily, there's an absolute where you have to stand. That's just up to you and what you feel comfortable with. You can get right up as close as you're able to. Come straight up, straight down, and yes, I'm working my triceps. My triceps are being trained. For me, I like to take a bit of a step back, get a slight lean forward, my back is still flat, chest out, and press down. My triceps are still being worked, straight up and down. And the difference is, though, I'm tightening my abs, and I can really feel, a lot more in my core, So you're kind of, you're killing two birds with one stone if you want to think of it that way. So this is another tip: posture, technique, form, primary movers, focusing on the muscle you're training for each exercise. If you're going to put the work in the gym, you might as well get the most out of each exercise. There are a lot of exercises that we could use as examples for maintaining proper form, technique, and promoting better posture while doing the exercise to help you be more effective. This will be the final example for this quick video I put together. And so the next exercise I'm going to demonstrate is stiff leg raises. Stiff leg raises target your hamstrings, glutes, the lower back muscles, commonly called extensor spinae or erector spinae muscles. Basically, these muscles help you to extend on the way up, those lower back muscles. A lot of people are very weak in this area, typically will have weak hamstrings as well. When you strengthen your hamstrings and have your glutes in good shape, that's going to help support that lower back. Having your legs, generally in really good shape is going to help to support your core. It's part of that equation. So what we want to do when performing stiff leg raises is we want to, again, that hunch back example that I use, is we don't want to round our shoulders and have a hunch back. This is bad for your back, puts tension on your spine. It's not a good thing. We want our muscles to be absorbing the tension or the demand of that weight. We don't want that load to be put on our spine. We want the muscles to support the weight. So I'm going to demonstrate once again. This is the wrong way, so don't do it this way, okay? I see this a lot, and a lot of times it may just be with inexperience, coordination. They don't quite have the prerequisite of some sufficient core strength to be able to do it right, and so their form is not where it needs to be. So what I do see when people are doing it wrong is they have a tendency to round the back at the top, like a hunch back, and they'll round that back, and then they lower the dumbbells, and then they pull up. And they'll start the movement from up here, the back rounded, and then they kind of start lowering the weights down, and then they heave it back up. So that's creating a lot of tension on your back. It's not good, and over time that can create issues and cause problems. And it's just uncomfortable, by the way, when you're doing it that way. So what you want to do is you want to, again, focus on visualizing a flat back. So I'm going to bring my chest out. Focus on this right here. My back is flat. So I'm going to come down, sit into it like a squat almost, and bring the weights up. Good posture, good form is what we want to focus on. So what I'm doing here is I want to start the movement down here by the waist. Okay, those lower back muscles are going to help me on the way down, and I'm training hamstrings, glutes, and lower back. So on the way down, I have my chest out. I'm looking into the mirror. It's going to help keep me lined up and straight. And then I'm going to come back up with it. I'm going to do a few reps here. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, one more, and 5. Just like that. Now, when I performed this exercise, I had no issues of feeling any problems with my upper back. What I felt was hamstrings, glutes, lower back muscles are being worked. That's what you want. That's what you're supposed to feel. If you are doing this exercise, the rounded back, where you start moving up here first, and then you start, bending at the waist, and then lower the dumbbells, it should not be like this. Round the back, and then down. When you do that, that's uncomfortable. I've seen people who report that they hate this exercise, they don't like it, and then when I see their form, I understand why. I wouldn't want to do it that way either. It's very uncomfortable. So once you get the proper technique and form, and then you visualize that flat back, chest out, flat back, straight down with it, and up, hamstrings, those hamstrings working. Just right in there. Now, based on your flexibility, some people can go all the way down to their feet, and some people about mid-shin level. So, that will improve over time. You don't necessarily have to totally lock your legs out. Some people report that can be uncomfortable on their knees. So legs as straight as possible, perhaps a slight little bend there. You'll still feel your hamstring. Another quick example, one more time. I want to point out that something I didn't say earlier, is also when you're picking the dumbbells up, as with anything you may pick up off the ground, posture is important too. So I like to think of it as sitting down, like I'm sitting down to squat. So I'm going to sit down, grab my dumbbells, my chest is out, and press on up. Good flat back, good posture. I'm not hurting my back. So again, I'm going to get my stance. Real quick about the stance, that's going to be an individual preference. I find for me, if I get my feet too close together, for some people you feel a bit unstable. So I get about shoulder width in there, and I feel good right there. I'm balanced. So that's going to be a personal call for you and how you decide how wide to hold your feet. So again, real quick, chest out, flat back, and up. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. The further you go down, it may be impossible. You're not going to totally keep the back completely flat. The further you go down, but you want to keep your back as flat as possible and maintain that good posture. An exercise that you can do to help train yourself with having a flat back and maintaining a good posture while doing stiff leg raises is it's called good mornings. A lot of people are familiar with this exercise, but the same thing when doing good mornings. You can get a bar, a weighted bar. You kind of use something that you feel comfortable with, and I'm going to have the same approach. If I'm looking at the mirror, I'm using the mirror as a tool because it helps me to stay straight and lined up. So I'm going to look into the mirror and I'm going to initiate the movement here at the bottom. I'm not rounding the back, so I'm going to have my chest out, and here I go. I'm coming down flat back, looking into the mirror, and then I'm coming back up. When I use the mirror to look into, what that does helps me keep a flat back and lined up. I see people look down when they're doing good mornings, and for one, it's going to throw you forward off balance. And it has a tendency to cause people to kind of round the back or get that hunchback effect. So look into the mirror. If you don't have a mirror, then just find a point on the wall somewhere to stare at. So again, here we go. We do some good mornings. 1, back flat. 2, chest out. And 3, and I'm focused on this part right here. I'm not doing the work. Feel the hamstrings as well. My chest is out. And up, just like that. I'm not rounding my back. I have seen people do good mornings where they do that same thing, have the back rounded, and they're trying to come down here and come up. Back is rounded and they're coming up. It's going to create a lot of tension here on the spine. It's uncomfortable, and it's just not going to accomplish what you're trying to do. Can create problems if you use that bad form over time. So these are just some tips. I hope they're helpful, and basically my purpose is to try to create an awareness to help people start thinking about technique and form when they're performing exercises, and to think of having good posture. Exercise, weightlifting specifically, has a lot of benefits, but it'll defeat the purpose if you're performing exercises incorrectly, of poor form and poor posture. Now for beginners, people who are just new to weightlifting, a lot of times what can happen is that they can conceptualize what they're supposed to do. They'll get instructions from their trainer and they understand what they're being told. The problem that happens sometimes in the beginning is the execution of actually doing it. Conceptually they get it, they know the steps, they know trying to keep the back flat, good posture, how to follow the techniques that they're being shown. What can happen though is that because they're new to weightlifting and perhaps they've been sedentary a long time, they really don't have a lot of core strength yet. And so because they lack a sufficient foundation or prerequisite of core strength necessary to support their bodies and using good form, posture, and so on, it can be somewhat challenging in the beginning. However, over time, as they strengthen the core, doing those exercises that strengthen the core, build that foundation, they'll find that it gets easier to maintain good posture and do the exercise properly. That's why it's important with every exercise program. You want to be incorporating a lot of exercises that focus on strengthening the core. Your hips, lower back, legs, multi-joint type of exercises, focusing on getting strong in here in your center. When you develop that, then everything else becomes easier as far as being in those proper positions you need to be to execute properly to get the most out of your exercises. What will happen for people who are beginners is that they may not have a lot of core strength in the beginning. However, what will happen as their core starts to strengthen and the body starts making neuromuscular adaptations, basically you become more coordinated, more familiar with the movements, then a lot of this stuff, it becomes a lot easier. It's kind of like riding the bike, so to speak. Once you get it, it's something that you can repeat over and over again. But it takes practice, it takes being consistent, and it takes being able to visualize and focus in on the exercise that you're doing. So I hope this video has been helpful. I'm just trying to help people. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave some comments. My name's James Hunter. I'm a personal trainer in Corpus Christi, Texas. For those of you who live here locally or nearby, feel free to give me a call at 361-446-0192. Or you can look at my website, www.jameshunterfitness.com, where there's more information about me. For those of you who don't live in the area, feel free to contact me anyways. And if you want a consultation or information, I do provide other types of services. So you have a nice day, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.